I would like to wish all my viewers a very merry or happy Christmas and a happy new year, and I hope everyone enjoys the videos and all of the videos throughout the Christmas with ST Special. Hello and good morning everybody. Today's Christmas episode will be reviewing the Route 505 route operated by Stagecoach East Midlands, and the route goes from Kings Lynn in Norfolk to Spalding in Lincolnshire. As you can see now, our bus arrives into Albert Bay, and our bus will be an ADL Enviro 400 to get us to Spalding. So our bus, that'll be our chariot to Spalding for over an hour, will be 19203, which is an ex-Stagecoach North East ADL Enviro 400. We then board the bus and we take our seat at the front seat at the top deck, and that is where we are going to be staying throughout the journey. As the bus starts up, we get ready to leave on the 10:05 service to Spalding, and we're going to be doing the fastest route, which you don't serve some certain stops that will be mentioned later on in the video. As it hits 10:05, as we're now leaving Kings Lynn bus station, we see an XL in our stand next to us, which eventually I'll be reviewing another route on. But that route is around over 3 hours, depends what type of route you take on that. And now we leave Kings Lynn bus station to begin our journey all the way to Spalding. As you can see, the bus station's fairly decent there. You got around 8 stands, decent amount of space for buses to park about for their next runs. It's mainly links and go to towns that need to park up. As you can see, another XL is seen along with some of the Link's fleet. And now this is where our journey really begins, so I hope everyone enjoys my commentary throughout the journey, even though it's a bit off, but see what happens. After we leave the bus station, we make a left, then we turn right onto a road that takes us to our first stop of the journey, Kings Lynn railway station, which is the northern terminus point of a thin line between Kings Lynn and Cambridge. Our services usually continue for London King's Cross. And I guess that tall building I'm viewing in the distance is the College of West Anglia, one of the tallest buildings in Kings Lynn, if not the tallest, but it's the tallest educational building in the region. And that is where I usually go to throughout 3 to 4 days a week, depending on my schedule. And that explains why videos these days are not uploaded quick enough or something. We then round a bend and onto traffic lights, and then eventually, usually traffic continues towards Southgate's bus stop, but then we turn off somewhere that you'll recognise. As you can see here, for most of the journey I had the top deck all to myself, which was nice. I tell you, it was nice and quiet up here, and it was even more quieter, because it was just me. It just gets to chill throughout the journey for Spalding, you see. It feels very nice not having people talking a lot in the background, even though you get plenty on this route. We now then turn off towards the Kings Lynn busway that some services use. As we make our way out of the town centre, in distance you will see King's Lynn Minster, which has 2 towers, and you can see it from miles away, which is quite iconic, to be honest. We now then make our way towards the busway onto our first village we serve, South Lynn. It's a strange thing, the first set of bollards are down. Usually if they were up you would have to wait until they go down. But strangely enough they were down, and they were down for the return journey as well. We then exit the busway, and what do we see? The bollards are down, and they were the exact same for my return journey as well. We now enter the village of South Lynn, and we make a few pick-up drop-off points to then carry on with our journey. We then pass a newly repainted interconnect bus for the 505. Approximately 7 of them are now repainted, and I think more are due to be repainted eventually. It's mainly for the 505, but recent allocations as of today, they've also been going on local Wisbeach routes, and sometimes you'll see them up in Skegness either for repair work or to help out with their routes. But that one we passed was 5510, which was the first one to be repainted into the new interconnect livery, and as you can see, some bus stops serving the 505 have been upgraded or placed with new signs to re-advertise the 505. They've been doing that since the summer. As we leave the village of South Lynn, we then cross the River Great Ouse, and we interact with another bridge which carries the A47 across. Next village we serve is Clench Wharton. Well, onto the seat comfort, I guess. Well, it's just the standard Stagecoach fabric seats. There's obviously the 2007 made bus, obviously an ADL Enviro 400, and it's still empty at the top deck apart from me being on there, so yeah, it's cool. So I guess the comfiness is alright, but it's nowhere as good as the leather seats. We then bypass West Lynn. Some of the services at the 35 pass to King's Lynn, they serve West Lynn, but ours on the 05, so we don't serve West Lynn. So basically West Lynn services are hourly. And speaking of that, let me tell you a little bit more about the service. So this is Route 505, operated by Stagecoach East Midlands, even though this route has been operated by many operators such as Norfolk Green, Stagecoach Norfolk before they left, Stagecoach East by Peterborough operated this for a year until Stagecoach East Midlands off Skegness Depot took over. This service runs every half an hour. there's like three ways. There's the original route that we're on, there's another route that serves through West Lynn, and there's another route that serves through Malton Village. Services, for example, usually leave both Kingston and Spalding at 5 past and 35 past. And this route takes around over 90 minutes. And I'll review the route right at the end before we arrive at Spalding. So then we serve the village of Clenchwarton, which 505 services usually serve while some of them goes off towards West Lynn. We now approach and enter the village of Townland St Clement, as once again we pass another bus from 505, and that is 15.808 for those who are asking for it before they comment. As we continue our way into the village, we've got multiple stops to serve. We've got the long way through it. We're passing through both schools, the high school and the primary. Usually on school days, one of the 505 services for Kingsland usually stays at Townland St Clement High School for half an hour before it carries on for the journey. It only happens on school days though. Other than that, it gets a lot of standing time at Kings Lynn. So once we serve the village of Townland St Clement, we pass another bus on the 505 with leather seats. At least I got a bus with leather seats on my return journey later on, which was nice because they're fairly comfy, they're fairly alright, better than the fabric seats. So then now we pass through Walpole Cross Keys, which means we are about to enter the region of Lincolnshire. We then enter onto the A17 road, and then we are now in Lincolnshire. And this road we're on runs all the way from Kingsland to Newark in Nottinghamshire. Whilst we continue along, I know the views are a bit horrible because of the weather that day, windows were misty, but one pointing that out is Sutton Bridge Power Station, which you can basically see from miles away. To be fair, you can even see it from Stanton at night with its red lights. You can see all the way from Stanton, etc. Yeah, it's a nice view of it. We now approach the Cross Key Swing Bridge, which I've never really seen it swing in real life, but I've seen videos of it before. Swing for large ships, boats. And as we now cross over Cross Keys Swing Bridge, we cross the River Nene, as you can see. So this means we are now approaching the port village of Sutton Bridge and the first few stops in Lincolnshire. As we finish serving the village of Sutton Bridge, we pass through the GDS Travel bus depot located just on the outskirts along Sutton. That depot usually runs school contracts with pretty old buses, I should say. We're now into the market town along Sutton, which you'll regularly see 505 serve there. You'll see the 50 to Wisbeach starting from there. And it's also home of the Long Sutton Outstation bus depot, which buses are usually stored for the night or days depending on night services. We then head back onto the A17 and we head into the small village of Skegness. So this signifier means we're halfway throughout our journey. I must say, for around 5 to 10 minutes, we're on some pretty tight roads. We've got to basically take extra care when going along these roads, because this takes us into Fleet Hargate, and there's plenty of stops we've got to serve there. See what I mean by tight narrow roads? Gotta let this truck reverse into its bay, and then we carry on. After escaping that narrow road, we then pass through Fleet Hargate, and then we enter the town of Holbeach. We now leave the town of Holbeach, and the bus stop we have a bit of standing time on. We pass the church of Holbeach as we now carry on onto the A151 towards Spalding, and the next village we serve is Walpole. We pass through Walpole, then on the outskirts of Moulton, and then we serve the village of Weston before we approach our next major stop before we arrive at Spalding bus station. In the distance overhead you can see Spalding power station, for which you can see on the A17 for miles away. I meant to say it was Spalding power station. My apologies for my messed up speech. Once we round the A16 roundabout and this roundabout, we approach our penultimate major stop, Springfield's shopping centre. Once we arrive into the bus station at Springfields, we're greeted by some coaches parked up. For this one, I didn't think we picked up anyone, so we carried on for our journey. We buses these days rarely pick up people at Springfields who wants to go to the town centre, but yeah, once we cross the River Welland, we head into Spalding town centre to reach our final destination, Spalding bus station. We then pass a bus on the 505 for one last time, which has just departed on the 11:35 back to King's Lynn via West Lynn. after passing the football stadium. We then make one more left into the bus station. Now the bus station's not all bad looking, it has enough space for all buses to park up and get into their right stands. There's a bunch of Brine Lane and Fowler's buses parked. You also see Black Cat Travel operating here on the town service. You see Brine Lane doing services to Boston. You'll see Fowler's doing a service to Sutton St James, and this is like the main route which goes on towards King's Lynn. Now, my route review about this. Well, this isn't all a bad route really, but this is mainly serving through villages between Norfolk and Lincolnshire, between King's Lynn and Spalding. I say you get a nice bit of history, like seeing all the power stations, crossing bridges, etc. Would I recommend this route to anyone? Well, if anyone wants to, since this is a main route, I go ahead. I say it's quite enjoyable in some cases, to be honest. Bus-wise, you can get any, as it's run by Skegness. It's not by any branded buses. You can get any buses throughout the depot. You'll mostly get Scanias, but on my journey, I got an ADL Enviro 400, which is all right, but they're not as good as a Scanias. In fact, none of our buses are that great. But yes, it's because of maintenance, basically. As long as your bus will survive throughout the journey, I'm sure it'll be a good journey. But my final opinion on that, I'd say it's a decent road, decent length. You get a lot of historic things in sight. And yeah, someday I will be doing a video of this again, because I thought it would be a good idea to do new routes and talk about them, what they're like. But yeah, it's nice to see that the 505 is being basically relaunched and rebranded and being promoted. And I know the route hasn't been great in all terms, but hopefully it gets better, even though we can't promise things. Now here's my bus 9203 heading back on the 1205 to King's Lynn. Thank you all very much for watching this route video, and I'll see you in the next video.